Hey folks, with the 3.17.2 wipe of our in-game currency and all the items, ships, and upgrades that we bought with that in-game currency, I wanted to go over how to efficiently get back to a good income earning state with bounty hunting. I'll also talk a bit about what we know so far about the updated combat assistance service beacons, which could end up being another really profitable way to make money via space combat in the verse. So let's get into it. So right after a wipe, you'll start with a small amount of money that probably won't be enough to fully upgrade your ship to the recommended spec. You'll want to make the most impactful changes first and upgrade the rest later, and I recommend starting with the weapons. This is because most ships don't start with the most optimal weapon loadout for bounty hunting, so you'll want to change those first to increase your kill speeds and make money faster. For ships that have special mounts like the Buccaneer, Hornet, and Reliance, I'd recommend getting the mounts that let you fit the most weapons possible for the highest sustained DPS. For most ships, I prefer using laser repeaters, but if money's tight, just prioritize getting a matched loadout of repeaters or cannons so that you don't have mixed projectile speeds, which would make aiming all your guns at the same time impossible. And if you don't have enough money to buy your preferred type of weapons for all your hardpoints, you could lower the cost by downsizing the weapon and putting it on a gimbal until you can afford the larger fixed loadout. Unless it's a size 5 hardpoint, the DPS loss is minimal. Almost every ship in the game comes with a power plant strong enough to support its weapon loadouts, but for the few that don't, you'll want to make sure to upgrade the power plant along with the weapons if necessary. If your ship only has a single competition or stealth grade power plant, I'd check Urkel.games to make sure you have the 100 extra power required to spool a size 1 quantum drive or the 1000 extra power required to spool a size 2 drive. After the weapons and power are sorted, I recommend upgrading the shields, which will give you more shield HP and faster shield recharge rates, which will help you have to repair less often. The industrial grade A palisades are still the best size 1 shields thanks to their shield HP, recharge rate, and ballistic damage protection. For size 2 and size 3 shields, all grade A variants have the same HP and recharge rate, so I recommend going with the civilian ones since they're the cheapest, or if you're going to PvP a bunch, go with the military ones, which are more expensive but will have better protection against distortion damage. You don't need that for NPC bounty hunting though, so you can save your money if you're not hunting other players. After the shields, you could either do the quantum drive for a quality of life upgrade, or the missiles to get more missiles and more consistent hits or higher potential burst damage. For size 1 quantum drives, I'd recommend the Voyage or the Atlas, which are fast and fuel efficient quantum drives. They used to be the fastest size 1 drives that could get anywhere in the verse on a single tank, but now with the addition of the new farther out Lagrange points, that's no longer true. But they still reach all the main planetary bodies in a single tank, so I like them more than getting a slower, more fuel efficient drive since you're probably not going to the distant Lagrange points very often. For missiles, I recommend going with all size 1 missiles. So get a missile rack that fits size 1 missiles and then buy either Pioneer 1 EM missiles for the most consistent hits, or the Arrow 1 IR missiles for higher potential damage but less consistent hits. You don't need to upgrade the coolers on any combat ship, so I would save your money unless you do a lot of PvP, in which case you can get the military coolers. If you're going to make money from bounty hunting, your home location doesn't matter that much, since only the ships and gear that are attached to your RSI account will spawn there. And it's easy to claim ships to wherever you actually want to base out of, and FPS gear isn't hard to transport in any ship with personal inventory storage. I like to pick New Babbage as my starting home because it lets me immediately swap my ship weapons to CF series laser repeaters, which I recommend using on most bounty hunting loadouts. In fact, common starter ships like the Avenger Titan, Mustang Alpha, Aurora MR, and 100i can all swap to a full CF series laser repeater loadout in New Babbage for under 20k Alpha UEC. And if you aren't starting with that much money, it also sells the best shields in the game for bounty hunting, so you'll want to come back here anyway after earning enough money to swap your loadout. Your ships, money, and equipment earned in-game are reset in 3.17.2, but your reputation isn't, which means 2 things. You'll get bounty hunting certification missions one after another up to the difficulty that you were at in 3.17.1, and that you'll get bonus payouts based on your reputation with various security groups. Crusader, Hurston, Microtech, ArcCorp, and Northrock Service Group all have their own reputations and award bonus payouts of 5% per tier up to 20% maximum, and this will carry over from whatever you had earned in 3.17.1. So if you want to maximize your payouts right away, you should pick up bounty hunting where you left off before, since that probably has the highest rep and therefore payouts. I think Crusader has the most efficient bounty hunting for making money since none of the bounties spawn on the planet, and there's only 3 moons, so that's where I'll be. There is one big potential change to earning money in the verse though, in the form of the newly updated Combat Assistance Service Beacons. These are NPC ship combat encounters available in the space around the 4 planets that start paying really poorly, but you can quickly ramp up to really high payouts. You get offered higher level contracts as you successfully complete service beacons and increase your contract rating. It's not clear what bonus payouts apply for those just yet, but that might be a flexible way to do space combat around different parts of the system without needing to rely on reputation to maximize your income. These mission spawns should be determined by quanta, so if they end up spawning pretty frequently, that could be really nice because the quantum markers for these missions land you right in the thick of combat, which is more exciting than bounty hunting missions where you have to fly 20 to 40 kilometers to your targets. In the PTU, the payouts seemed a bit too high for the moderate level difficulty contracts and higher, so I expect that to be adjusted before it hits the live servers. And lastly, there's still all the other non-ship combat ways to get started and make good money in the verse. If you haven't pledged for an effective combat ship or space combat's just not your thing, you might want to try your hand at FPS mercenary missions available through the Mercenary Contracts tab, since they can be a good way to earn money that's mostly independent of your ship. You would ideally want to be able to bring back some loot in a ship with some internal storage, but that's not necessary. And with the new Siege of Orison FPS event, there are some new FPS ways to make money as well. This isn't as risk-free as bounty hunting though, but it's a good pay and pretty consistent if you can get good at not dying and not getting crime stats by accidentally shooting your allies. There's other things too, like trade or mining or even medical rescue gameplay, but those aren't as profitable and they're less consistent, so I personally just go where the combat is. That's all for my quick start chat about getting back into bounty hunting after the wipe. I'll do another video going into more detail about the Combat Assistance Service Beacons as we see how they evolve in the PTU. Thanks for watching folks, I hope you've liked this video. Cheers.